Thank you for joining us. I'm Laurel Porter.
And I'm David Molko. We'll have those stories in just a moment. But first, did your house shake tonight? Because if you were in Southwest Washington, what you felt was likely a small earthquake.
The quake was centered near Camas. We're hearing from a lot of you who felt it. John said his whole house shook in Washougal. Graham wrote he felt it in the Fisher's Landing area and thought they were blasting at the quarry.
Wow. Greg says he felt it for just 1.5 seconds. It felt like somebody hit their house. And one more here. Joe wrote he felt a quick jolt that had the dog going nuts, then had him going to check the roof for a fallen tree limb. What a surprise there.
So let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Matt Safino. Matt, this wasn't a very big quake, though, was it?
No, 2.8. So a small one, but obviously felt by a lot of people because it happened in a fairly populated area here. As you mentioned, just to the west of Camas here. You can see Camas over here, Washougal, the earthquake near Fisher's Landing, south of Mill Plain. And again, a 2.8 on the magnitude scale. Now, there are several small faults that run through this region. Of course, there's the big Cascadia subduction zone off the coast. This was not that. Other faults along the Cascades. There's a fault along the West Hills in Portland. So lots of small faults, and every now and then one of those makes an adjustment and you get a small earthquake like this. Haven't heard of any aftershocks. Don't anticipate any big aftershocks or anything like that. So hopefully just a one-off, but it certainly got the attention of a lot of people. Guys?
It sure did. Thank you, Matt. We have breaking news now tonight. One person has died after they were hit by a car in the Foster Powell neighborhood of Portland. This happened just after 9 o'clock tonight near the Eastport Plaza shopping center. Southeast 82nd is shut down right now between Powell and Holgate as police investigate. New tonight, it's not just Portland that seems to be seeing an increase in business break-ins.
Business owners at a shopping center in Happy Valley suspect a serial burglar is at work, and they are hoping to catch the thief, who they believe was recorded on video, before he does even more damage. Here's Catherine Cook.
Take a look at this surveillance video. It's hard to see the guy.
We need to try to catch them.
But business owners think he's connected to a string of break-ins at the Happy Valley Town Center. That's near Southeast 162nd and Sunnyside Road. Security cameras inside Noodle Man captured this video May 15th around 10 p.m. The owner tells KGW the suspect broke in through the front door. That same night, another break-in just across the parking lot.
Yeah, this is the one you got broken into.
This time at U.S. World-Class Taekwondo.
We are like a family, we have a lot of students, and it was really hard on everybody.
Owner Carlos Sepulveda says the burglar stole documents containing personal information, including credit card numbers from students' families. Some of that information was later used on fraudulent purchases.
The good thing, they keep trusting us, you know, they are fully supportive, they were with us, and they totally understood what happened. So.
Other recent break-ins include Pho Zen Vietnamese Bistro. You can see the boarded up window. And just this weekend, Pete's Coffee, and yet another boarded up window. Neighboring businesses are a bit on edge.
It's really sad to see.
That includes Fadi Arno. He owns Mediterranean Grill. It's right between two businesses that were hit.
So far, yes, we have been a little bit lucky that this is not something easy to deal with as a business owner, you know, especially when the owner works. Somebody like me, I work average 120 hours a week.
For many business owners, the cost of replacing broken glass comes out of pocket. For Sepulveda, replacing his door set him back $400. It's an expense that hurts, but not as much as his stolen sense of security.
After this, you know, what is happening around, it doesn't feel safe anymore in Happy Valley. Like, you know, it doesn't feel like the same it was like a couple years back.
Business owners in this shopping center don't think they're the only victims here. They believe whoever's doing this is hitting up businesses all over the area, and they want it to stop. If you have any information on this case, you're asked to call the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office. In Happy Valley, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
New tonight, a Washington County man who is facing sex abuse charges has been arrested again. He's accused of trying to volunteer at a Portland school, even though he's not supposed to be around children. 58-year-old Henry Bauer currently faces 4 counts of sex abuse. His bail conditions specifically state he cannot have contact with minors. Now, court documents state Bauer had been in Lincoln High School on a tour last month and then volunteered with the theater department and was at a student cast party. The school has now banned him from campus, and he is back in jail.
Now to three things to know about COVID tonight. Hospitalizations are once again rising in Washington. The latest data from the Department of Health shows about 500 hospitalizations every week. That's up from a low of about 160 hospitalizations. That was back in mid-April. But it's still well below the January peak of 2,100. About 10% of hospital beds right now are occupied by COVID patients.
Meanwhile, there could be an end in sight finally for Oregon's latest COVID surge. Infections have been rising for the last 2 months, but health officials say cases could start declining by the middle of this month. OHSU's latest forecast expects hospitalizations to max out next week with about 313 people in hospital. That's a slightly lower and later peak than predicted in its previous report in May.
Millions of COVID vaccine doses have been wasted in the United States. The CDC said from December 2020 through mid-May, pharmacies, states, and federal agencies discarded over 82 million COVID vaccines. CVS and Walmart were responsible for more than a quarter of vaccines thrown away during that time period. The wasted doses include some that expired before they could be used. Others were tossed at the end of the day when no one wanted the last few doses in an opened vial.
Well, tonight, a plan to get more Portlanders closer to becoming homeowners is moving forward, and it's one that significantly gives people a chance to live in neighborhoods they may not have previously been able to afford. Mike Benner explains.
When it comes to living in Portland, there are a number of perks. Many will argue accessibility to housing is not one of them, and city leaders are well aware of that.
Newer homes are larger, more expensive, and out of reach of most Portlanders.
Morgan Tracy is the project manager for the Residential Infill Project, or RIP for short. We saw the first phase of the project come to fruition in August 2020. That's when Portland City Council passed an ordinance allowing for more middle housing in the Rose City's residential neighborhoods. Middle housing is housing opportunities that aren't apartments or single-family homes.
RIP 1 really looked at opening up what were formerly exclusively single-dwelling zones and allowing things like duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes, while also controlling the size of those structures.
If you like the sound of that, then listen to this. Just last week, city commissioners signed off on RIP 2. This allows developers to build even higher density housing in single-dwelling zones in Portland. For instance, multifamily units in a single structure, townhomes in what are called cottage clusters.
Cottage clusters are multiple detached, smaller units built around or oriented toward a common green space.
In other words, more housing and home ownership opportunities for more people. Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler calls it the exact right strategy to pursue as a community.
At first blush, this can look like pretty dry land use policy, but it will actually shape the direction, the physical direction of this city for decades to come.
But without question, there will be critics who say high-density housing in areas zoned for single-family homes is not the answer to our housing crisis, to which Morgan Tracy says, don't be afraid.
It'll happen incrementally and over time. It's not going to be a wave of instant change. It'll happen as those sites become available.
Mike Benner reporting there, and this can all start as soon as July 1st when the new emergency ordinance goes into effect. The city is also hosting a RIP 2 Lunch and Learn next week. Details are up in Mike's article at KGW.com.
Strike avoided. A month or so after nurses at Providence St. Vincent voted to walk out, the hospital says it has a tentative agreement with the union. Providence and the Oregon Nurses Association have been negotiating a new contract for about 8 months. The tentative agreement covers close to 1,600 registered nurses. Now, this is just the first step. Nurses still have to vote to approve it. And keep in mind, this is only for St. Vincent. Negotiations are ongoing at Providence, Willamette Falls, Milwaukee, and Hood River.
Oregon lawmakers may be out of session right now, but there is a new effort underway to make sure the next time they meet, all of them show up. Now, a proposed ballot measure would punish a lawmaker who has 10 or more unexcused absences by disqualifying them from running for re-election. Now, on the story tonight, Ashley Corsland talked to the group who created the measure following a number of Republican walkouts.
We talked to a spokesperson from the group Hold Politicians Accountable. They got more than 183,000 signatures for their initiative petition, way over the threshold needed to get something on the ballot. And they're pretty optimistic.
The most signatures that any measure has ever turned in Oregon. Right now, it's with the Secretary of State's office. They have several weeks to verify all the signatures and make sure that they are from registered voters. We expect that to be done in the next couple weeks, at which point we'll really start kind of re-engaging the campaign.
She also pointed to a poll from last year. It found 84% of Oregon voters are in favor of punishing lawmakers who walk out by disqualifying them from the next election. 78% said they also support fining those lawmakers or taking away their salaries.
I think it's just really intuitive for people. Like, they understand the premise of, if you don't show up to work, if you no call, no show to your job 10 times in a row, there's no way you would get to keep your job. And I think people are really sick of politicians who think they can play by their own rules, and want them to be held to the same standard, if not the higher standard than the rest of us.
Now, she says they have not encountered any big opposition yet, but many Republican lawmakers likely will not be in favor of the measure. In the past, they've said they had, quote, no other option than to walk out, and did it as a protest to stick up for their constituents.
We'll see what happens there. The story team also took a look back at what led to all of those walkouts in the first place. The full report is up for you now on the KGW YouTube channel.